afternoon, Stitch Roadies. It's nice to be here with you today. If you're new, this is a channel about cross stitch and a whole lot of other stuff, mostly other stuff. But today is a lot about cross stitch too. So if you decide to stay, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. It is freaking cold here. It's a beautiful sunny fall day, but you would not know it from the temperature. It is so cold that in some of the parking lots here they have put de-icer down. So that is how cold it is. Thank goodness it has not rained in a couple days, and so we don't have a skating rink going on. But we enjoyed Thanksgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving with family, and it was for the first time ever not hosted by me in my family anyway. I usually do the hosting, and now that gauntlet has passed on to the next generation, which is awesome. I know. I was surprised at how giddy I feel about it. Don't tell my daughter-in-law. So, needless to say, we had an absolutely fabulous Thanksgiving, and it was my younger daughter-in-law has a large family, so there were 20-some people there, and it was lively. The food was spectacular. It was all types of food there, and it was fun to talk to everybody. Yeah, it was. I mean, and my younger grandchildren were having a heyday because, you know, all of those adults to pay attention to them. I got a little frog in my throat because I've been outside helping G do outdoor decorations, and it is so cold that I'm now drinking some peppermint tea. What I do is the day after Thanksgiving, I start decorating for Christmas, and it gets challenging every year. I mean, I can't imagine not decorating for Christmas, but there was a moment yesterday when I thought, how many more years am I going to be able to do this? Because I love decorating for Christmas, and I have boxes and boxes, and I took a whole box of decorations over to my son's house because it's just too much. You know, it was so much. And I'm here to tell you, since I had that cancer taken off the back of my leg, and it's sutured up, you know, but who would have thought that the back of your calf does that much work for you? I had no idea, but I keep hitting that spot, or when I go to get up a chair or sit down, I keep banging that spot. It's like takes your breath away, and I would have never guessed that. And so now I have a lot of appreciation for the back of my calves. Yeah, use sunscreen. Use sunscreen. So we have been decorating the inside of the house, and all I have left is my little Christmas village, which I love to set up. I just pooped out on that, so I might do that later on today. But we did spend the afternoon outside. We've never really decorated outside, and so we went to Lowe's, which is like a building type superstore, and they also have holiday decorations, and we bought some lights, and I said I wanted to put a deer out in front of our yard, although we have real deer in our backyard. But this one was, you know, it's about 4 or 5 feet, and it kind of looks like a Patronus in Harry Potter, if you've ever seen those movies. But when I was putting this thing together, I thought, who in the heck designed this? It was an engineering genius who did this, because it came in 4 body parts. So the legs, the body, the head, the decoration in the front, those were all separate pieces, but they were all connected by all the internal wiring of the lights. So you had to like unwrap it and untwist it and figure out how to put it together, and so it looked like a deer and not like something out of a horror film. Yeah, that brings a lot to mind, doesn't it? But as I was trying to figure this thing out, I said, whoever designed this should be a cross-stitcher or a quilter, because they've got it together. And so I went back in to see where this came from, and it came from China. There's somebody in China who would be an extraordinary cross-stitcher or quilter. I still can't get over how this thing was designed and put together, but it's now in my front yard. And then we hung up some lights. We've never done outdoor decorating. We've always done indoor, lots of indoor, but not a lot of outdoor. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And with Thanksgiving behind us here in the States, we move on to Christmas movies. And I started to watch a Hallmark movie. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup. I only could get it part way through it. And when I decided that I couldn't take it anymore, I heard G, who sits next to me while I'm cross-stitching. He's like, okay, thank goodness. But I have watched The Holiday, and Love Actually makes me cry every time. And the Santa Claus, working on the Santa Claus. So, yeah, I love all that. I love all that. Plus all the chocolate and all the good stuff, So, but I have been stitching. My designated stitch is this one. Now, it's an old one. You can tell it's an old one because it was 35 cents. It was gifted to me. And I am moving across and moving up on the grass. And this has a February, end of January end date, so I've got to keep on keeping on. And so I'm glad to have moved that to the designated stitch pile. And what else have I... Oh, and then I realized, oh my gosh, I'm doing the Jenga ball. I had a great time last year, just kind of seeing what other people were working on and getting inspired, And so the Jingle Ball, I thought, is it this weekend? I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done my homework. I only was able to sign up for one class because of my schedule. And lucky for me, I realized it's not till December 1st through the 3rd. And I am signed up to enjoy part of it at Acorns and Threads, which is going to Zoom the Jingle Ball. That's going to be fun, just to be with a bunch of other stitchers. But the only class I signed up for was Hello from Liz Matthews, and it was this one here. And I was sent the stuff for one ornament, and you were supposed to pick one, so I have to pick one to stitch. And I decided, because I have 2 Christmas trees in my house, one in the entryway, because I have one of those 2-story entryways, and so I have a large tree that when you unpack it, because of my allergies, we can only do artificial trees. But this particular one is like one of those silver and white things with glitter all over it, and so when you bring it out of the box, it like throws up glitter all over your house. Yeah, that kind of tree. So on that tree, I have very few ornaments because it's so beautiful all by itself. It looks like there's snow on it. And but the ornaments I have on there are like clear silver, kind of monochromatic white. And so I thought I would add to that tree by doing this one, Peace. Yeah. So that, I got to get started with that like today. Yes. So the Jingle Ball, and I hope I see you at Acorns and Threads. That's going to be a lot of fun. I did receive some stuff in the mail. I ordered, and I will list the SALs that I am part of. Yeah, because I got the Prairie Schooler Santa SAL going, and hashtag Love My Stitch SAL, which I started so that I could feel good about just not keeping up with any SAL, but just stitching on what I love. But I did sign up for a SAL for next year, and I'm going to try really hard to keep up on it. We'll see. I fell in love with it when I saw it. Modern folk embroidery, and I think Lady Robiness, and I'm trying to convince Cassie Jo stitches, because she gets, no, maybe not, because she gets everything done. I mean, I'm working on Christmas Quaker 2, and I think she finished it 2 years ago. Yeah. But this is next year's SAL, and he's divided it up. Modern folk embroidery, and I just love the clock. I just love the clock. And he had several different suggestions for colorways, and I thought G would really like this one. So I decided that I would order the floss from Roxy Floss Co. And so that came in the mail. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I showed it to him this morning, and he liked it. So I think I'm going to do it on 36 count, but I haven't decided, and I haven't chosen the fabric yet. So we'll see. What else? What else? Oh, what else I got in the mail? I am a fan of Sewing the Good Life. It's Annette and her husband. I see them like at Market or at Road to California. They do the big shows. And I love their embroidery, mainly because it's a break for my stitchy brain. It's already pre-printed on sandcastle fabric, which is a kind of a quilted fabric, and it's only done with a back stitch. And their kits are pre-printed on that fabric with the thread, and you don't have to worry about carrying because it won't show through, and it's a back stitch. So it's like a break. It's a break from all the decision making. And I love their embroidery. I had no idea that she did cross stitch. I mean, I don't know why I didn't know that. But maybe because I'm always focused on the embroidery, which I love. But she sent me a cross stitch kit, and I'm so excited about it. So here's the kit. The pattern and the kit. And I'm really excited because it's on perforated paper, and I've been wanting to try it. So it has the thread, the ribbon, so you can see the ribbon for the tie at the top, and perforated paper with the frame, with the wooden frame. I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get started on this. That's going to be a sooner than later. I bet you I do this next stitch group. This would be a good stitch group pattern. But so sewing the Good Life, who knew? Now I have somewhere else that, oh, and look at, she even included the needle. Now that's a kit. I'm telling you, that's a kit. Okay, so I have shown you what came in the mail. I already told you about my freaking leg hurts. I keep bumping it. I took the dressing off and now I just put a Band-Aid, a big Band-Aid on when I'm wearing blue jeans or something so it doesn't rub against it. I don't get the sutures out for, I think, about another week and a half. She said I could take them out myself out if I can twist around and look at that. Of course, you know, I need reading glasses. I could ask my son or daughter-in-law to do it. That would be the easiest way rather than to go back in. I know, I want to say who, what, when, how. I don't know what I've been. I have been finishing. Sometimes I shock myself. But I was at Acorns and Threads, which is my LNS. And I was at Stitch Group, and you know, you can't go to Stitch Group without going in the shop. It's right there. And I saw this book. Now, I like the primitive hair because it's kind of different. And they print a lot of their own fabric. And Janine has a lot of primitive hair patterns in a lot of the fabric. I am here to tell you. Now, Margaret, who does a lot for Janine and does a lot of samples for the shop, helped me pick this fabric out. I mean, there were several pieces. And the reason I'm telling you this is you're going to want to call them up and get the fabric, because that's sometimes hard to get. But this book, look at that. I have to do that. I just have to do that. And the front is like a needle book, but the pattern that got me when I was looking through this book, oh, and I have to do the bee. Yeah, I have to do that. But this pattern, when I saw it, if I see something that I love, that makes me laugh, I have to do it. Sea Hag, Mermaid Before Coffee. Oh yeah. So here you go. Look at that fabric. You're going to want to call up Janine. You're going to want to do it, because this is hysterical. I don't know how I'm going to finish it. They finished it on a box. I'm not sure how they're going to finish it. Yes, I got his beading done. I decided to put beads instead of cross-stitching the lights. I wanted the colorful lights like from my childhood, and I just sewed some fuzzy trim. He's so cute. Got him done. And then begin. Isn't this spectacular? Wouldn't this be a great shot? Yeah, spectacular. So, I can't wait to hang that up. But the last finish was awesome. So when I was taking it into the framers, I was standing next to a display that had clocks for 50% off. And I said, that would make a great finish for this cross stitch I'm doing a free pattern on Heartstring Samplery that Beth gave out at Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, but you can get by going onto her site. But I wanted to use the thread that Anne from Gloriana Threads gifted to each of us at the table, and that Beth named River Rock. So a skein of silk with Beth's pattern finished in a clock. Is that not spectacular? So I gutted the clock out, and then I took the clock face, I put a piece of cardboard over it, cut it out in a circle, put a piece of fusible batting, my cross stitch, laced it on the back, stuck it in the clock, took the back of the clock and glued it to the back of my cross stitch, set it like this with a big old jar and heavy books on it overnight, and there you got it. Look at that. Is that not just the most spectacular finish? It was perfect. I've seen things finished in clocks before, and I am sold. This was the perfect thread, the perfect piece in the perfect clock. Okay, well, I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're staying warm, or you're staying cool if you're on the other side of the hemisphere. And we'll see you next time. You take care, and we'll be busy, busy, busy this next few weeks. Love you guys.